Hi there everybody, this is David, and I've just got to say, sometimes Square Enix, or one of my favorite companies with some of my favorite games, can be quite the cruel mistress. They seem to be kind of like teasing us, leaving us these like little tiny breadcrumbs that we have to follow to like figure out what they are doing. And I kind of want to go through those breadcrumbs with y'all today to see what their plans are. And yeah, if you want to come with me and join my party and level up with me, be sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. Helps me out a ton. Thank you so much. So if any of you have been following my channel for any length of time, then this is nothing new to you. There was an Nvidia leak quite a long time ago. Yeah, we're going all the way back to that. Let's go back into the past like 4-something years. Everything on the Nvidia leak has come true. The latest thing that came true on that Nvidia leak that wasn't, leaked yet or shown about or anything was not only Kingdom Hearts 4, when we finally got some teeny-weeny tiny screenshots about it, just kind of like acknowledging its existence, but also the Final Fantasy Tactics remaster. That was also on that list. It said a remaster, and it is a remaster. And they also said that that was in development since 2018. So that leak came out in 2021. They knew about stuff that was in development since 2018. We're now getting it this September, but the only game that was on that list that we have not yet seen is the Final Fantasy IX remake. Not remaster, but remake. However, next week, there is a pretty momentous day, and that is on Monday, the 7th. It is the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy IX, and as we all know, Square Enix did come out, maybe 6 months ago or so, and they said, hey y'all, we've various projects planned for the Final Fantasy IX anniversary. And believe me, they have a ton of various projects, from remastering music, to all sorts of new merchandise, to collaborations with Ember Storia, their mobile game, to some sort of glasses collaboration. They did that Final Fantasy XIV thing with the Dawn Trail, all this different kind of stuff with Final Fantasy IX. They've been giving us tons and tons and tons of Final Fantasy IX stuff, except for the game. They even went so far as to like re-record the music. They gave us like this little backstory on Vivi and how he got his name and things like that. So yeah, lots of different stuff going on, but no actual game announcement, even though the game was in the leak. So we're getting new tweets about this literally every single freaking day lately. For like the last month, we've been getting a brand new tweet from the official Final Fantasy account about Final Fantasy IX. They are hyping up this anniversary like they've never hyped up any anniversary before. Like, this is like to the point of ridiculousness, y'all. Like, Final Fantasy VII came and went, Final Fantasy X came and went. It's just like, oh yeah, happy anniversary, whatever. Final Fantasy IX's like, whoa, blow it out of the park. Like, it's crazy how much they are really hyping up this anniversary. They've never done that before, which leads me to believe, like, obviously, they have something else up their sleeve, something that they really do want to announce on that day, which to me is obviously the Final Fantasy IX remake. Now, I don't talk a lot about my life, but I do kind of want to change that. You know what I mean? Like, I've been with y'all for like 10 years now on YouTube, and you guys have gotten to get to know me and things like that. So I'm going to share a little something with y'all. Final Fantasy IX was the RPG that I played the year that I graduated high school. I graduated high school at the end of May or early June or whenever it was, whenever I graduated, and then that September, I was going off to college. And I was still working and all whatever, and Final Fantasy IX came out, and I was super looking forward to it because I wasn't the biggest fan of Final Fantasy VIII, as many of you know. And it just fills me with such good memories of kind of like this carefree summer that I had. I had no stresses, no worries whatsoever because I already graduated high school. That part was behind me, and I only had college and my future to look forward to. I was gonna finally move out of my teeny tiny small town and move into a dorm, and I was so excited about that. That was coming up, and you know, I had this game to keep me company. I had Final Fantasy IX to keep me company throughout that, and it just brings me back to these really, really, really good memories. And you know, it helps that it's also a really fantastic game. I've always liked traditional, classic turn-based RPGs. You know, the crystals come back, all that kind of stuff, job classes, that sort of thing. You know, it's not like an everybody can do everything like it was in, I guess, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So it was my kind of game, you know, and I've always loved it. So also another little piece of lore is, so this coming up next week, I'm not going to be in town. I have a family reunion coming up. And that's going to be next weekend. But my brother, who lives in Georgia, called me up and he's like, "Hey, David, rather than just flying straight to New York, why don't you fly down to Atlanta and I'll pick you up and then we can drive together up to New York and do a week-long road trip?" And I said yes. So I'm going to be on Monday, whenever this announcement may or may not happen, the copium is real. I'm going to be in a car with my brother and his wife and his 2 girls. So I might come to y'all on a telephone screaming in a car, being like, "Oh my God, the Final Fantasy IX remake," you know. So, you know, just look forward to whatever I have coming for you. But I'm not going to be here at my home whenever all this happens. But it could just be, you know, another time that would be a good memory for me. I have a great memory of whenever the first game came out, and now a really good memory of whenever, hopefully, this announcement comes out. Also, another thing, I have heard from some reliable, I have heard that Final Fantasy VII Part 3 will be coming out in 2027, not 2026. So that leads me to believe, okay, so what actually is coming out next year? You know, what's the big game that's coming out next year? There's nothing really else planned. Maybe Kingdom Hearts 4, but I doubt it, considering those screenshots that we got were kind of like so bare bonesy. And then there's no Final Fantasy coming up either, and the Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 remakes will be done by that point. So that just tells me, hey, we need a big game. Well, I think that Final Fantasy IX Remake would be a really good game to put out next year. Also, if you watched my video where I got early access to Dragon Quest 1 and 2, I stumbled across a thing in Dragon Quest 2 where they referenced the Zenithian Castle, this castle in the heavens coming down and everything, which is a direct reference to the Zenithian trilogy. So maybe next year we'll also see a Dragon Quest 4 remake as well. Wouldn't that be freaking cool? We know that Square Enix is paring down their releases as they kind of evolve and change and things, but going back into their legacy releases, their really high quality, high profile releases, is a very good thing that they can do. It's a very profitable strategy for them. So putting out something like Dragon Quest 4, putting out something like the Final Fantasy IX remake would be definitely a smart move on their part. Maybe an HD 2D remaster of another SNES game as well, maybe Treasure of the Rudras or Bahamut Lagoon or something like that. But I've got to say, hey Square, if you're listening, keep your ears open. If you're gonna remake Final Fantasy IX, please, for the love of God, remake the Final Fantasy IX strategy guide as well, because that was the worst strategy guide on the face of the planet. There was nothing worse than that strategy guide. It was horrible. Please fix that one too. Even if we just get just an announcement, something acknowledging this game's existence, I would be happy. Maybe not a full-blown trailer or a release date or anything, just something acknowledging its existence. Tokyo Game Show is also coming up on September the 25th, so maybe we'll hear more there. So yeah, now I want to hear from y'all. What do you think about this? What do you think Square is doing? What do you think they have down the pike for us next year? Let me know in the comments, and as always, have a good day.